Hi, I'm Renee Washington, and welcome into our special edition of Walk in Her Boots presented by Johnnie Walker. Today's episode will be featuring the Cloud9 supporters. Let's check it out.
I became a member of Cloud9 at my first game. I didn't have anyone to go to a game with. Having just graduated college, all of my friends spread back out to their hometowns. So to figure out who could come with me from Long Island all the way down to Rutgers was a task that I wasn't getting any takers on. So finding the group Cloud9, I knew I wasn't going to be alone at a game. And I connected with them online for a couple weeks before I actually took the chance to go to my first game. And they've been some of my best friends for almost 10 years now.
I first heard about Gotham SC or Sky Blue in 2015 after the Women's World Cup. I was looking around for a team in the area, and I found Cloud9 first, actually, and it was like, oh, we're doing these ride shares to and from Rutgers for these games.
So my first Gotham match was back when it was still Sky Blue. It was the summer of 2019, so way back at your Sack Field. I remember getting off of work late that day. It was a Wednesday night, and just racing over it. It was I believe it was a 2-0 win over Chicago, that match. It was a very exciting first in-person match.
I am a fan of all sports. I came from a very athletic family. My mom was a college soccer player. My dad played sports his whole life. They were always our sports coaches. So we were a very sports-focused family. But finding women's soccer on my own, it just took hold of me, and that became my big thing, and I just love it.
I think the main reason people should invest in women's sports is because, one, these women are amazing. Day in, day out, they pour their heart out into the sport, and they want to leave it better for everyone else, for the next generation. So just come out, support them, because, again, they are fantastic.
I'm generally more of a New York sports fan. I grew up watching the New York Knicks. One of my neighbors was an athletic trainer for the Knicks in the 1990s. So those were some very good New York sports years. And then, my family, when they immigrated, my dad settled in the Bronx, and that's how I started following the Yankees. I had known about the New York Liberty since they started because of the knowledge of the Knicks. So really following, throughout my lifetime, and I love soccer. So this was a very natural fit for me.
I think the spot we're at right now with women's soccer is very unique in there's still, it's growing, but it's still at a size where you have a little bit of access to the players and their stories, and you get introduced to their personalities as much as you get introduced to the sport and the teams and the game. And I mean, that's what brought me in. And I think it's just something so unique too.
Women's sports, generally, the community is much more diverse, much more accepting, and it's just, I think, I'm not sure how to describe the atmosphere, but I know I've always felt a lot more comfortable and open, and I've met more fantastic people within women's sports.
I try to tell all my kids, women's sports. I see Miami jerseys at school. I see Man City, all men's teams. Like, you're doing it wrong. I also happen to teach in Crystal Dunn's hometown. So constantly, I'm telling these kids, you have one of the most legendary players who's from here, who grew up here just like you, playing so close.
I guess the one thing they're missing out is the community that it brings. When you come to a women's game, the community is unmatched. It's not like the men's game where it's a lot of rah-rah and all that stuff. It's we have a nice, calm community, and everyone's super welcoming. I haven't met a person that I haven't really liked yet. So you will always find a friend when you come into a women's sports environment.
So I didn't really join Cloud9 until the 2021 season. The first year we were in person back, here in Red Bull Arena. And it was more just hanging out with the folks over time. They're very welcoming at the tailgates. It's very much come everyone is welcome to come join Cloud9 and the tailgates. Meeting everybody just got me very comfortable with coming to the events. And by the time, partway through the season, I said, you know what, if I'm gonna be spending time here, let me join up. And then over time, getting more and more involved in the activities with the supporters group.
My role at Cloud9 is I'm a board member for Cloud9. I help with outreach throughout Brooklyn mostly. This is where I live, and my main role is to get the watch parties going for mostly the Brooklyn crowd, but I reach out to Jersey and like Philly and all that stuff to see if they're able to put the games on. We want everyone to be able to watch the games, and if a bar is the closest thing for you to watch it, we want to have you guys actually come out and watch it.
Cloud9 has a big community outreach component. We have in the past supported the Black Women's Players Collective in their initiatives. We work closely with South Bronx United in helping get them donations for their players, any gear they need, anything they're working on. We've worked with Baji, which is an alliance helping African American immigrants. And we really try to give back to the communities that, need it most and are represented by this club and ourselves. That component of women's sports, soccer, basketball, whatever you're talking about, that outreach portion is such a big piece that is, again, unique to this environment. My favorite Sky Blue FC Gotham moment, it's hard to pick, but I keep coming back to San Diego, and that night, seeing them lift the trophy, get their medal, I still pinch I don't believe that happened sometimes. It was the best night I've ever had.
Other than the championship, I believe my favorite moment may have been the last game of the 2022 season where we drew Portland 3-3. And had been a very rough season, and having that and essentially denying them the shield it felt like a win for many of us in the supporter section.
My favorite ever Gotham FC moment has to be the championship. It's bar none, probably the best experience of my life.